when people miss lack of identity, the next step, unfortunately, for some cases could be nihilism. Let me explain what. Nihilism meaning I don't think anything is worth it. People, when they say that, they think that the world is of no use. They are of no use. That is nihilism. That comes because of lack of belonging. And what is nihilism leading to? The social fabric of the society breaks down. You have mental issues all around you. So, if you want to go to a psychiatric department, you go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and ask them, the referrals have gone through the roof. Why? Because there's so much mental health problem going on. This is the situation. Mental health crisis is at all-time high. And I think that's to do with nihilism and other issues, and that is to do with identity and your character building and your social situation and how social you are and how much you look after each other and so on and so forth. But then you also see that mental health going into physical health issues. Because when you are mentally ill, mentally upset, your body starts to feel it. It gets upset. And then you have disorders, eating disorders, sleeping disorders, drinking disorders, drug abuse disorders. You have so many kinds of issues. The society is in trouble. And so, you see the social fabric break down, the police is struggling, the government is struggling, the society is struggling. And this is all due to all of us going in the different directions. Let me give you a simple example so you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Say for example, there's a car. To drive a car, ideally the situation is that the wheels of the car should go in one direction. So say for example, you put a reverse gear in the car, then ideally all four of the wheels should turn reverse. Then you're going to go reverse. If you want to go ahead, you put it in forward gear, drive or something, what you call it. The car goes ahead because all four wheels are going front. But now imagine a weird scenario, out of this world scenario, that the front two wheels are going forward. You see what I am coming to? The rear two wheels are going backwards. Now tell me, where is this car going? Nowhere. That's what I'm talking about, my dear brothers and sisters, that the society fall is not because of food or clothing or education only. But you need a societal cohesion. Only if people learn to live with each other, look after each other's needs, have a fair deal, then we have a chance to start. Otherwise, the society crumbles. And when I say society crumbles, society only crumbles when the families crumble. And when families crumble, it's not a good sight. What is the conclusion of this situation? And that is, the society will break down, the family will break down, the neighborly breakdown, the relationship breakdowns happening around us. Why is that happening? One of the main reasons that happens is where your attention goes, that's where energy goes. Let me give you an example, you'll understand what I mean by that. Close your eyes for a moment, close your eyes and visualize a green colored elephant. And now visualize that elephant has red color tusks. And now visualize that same elephant has a white colored tail. Okay, you can open your eyes. What did you see? You did exactly see what I just said, a green elephant. A green elephant with white tail. This is like a unicorn. It doesn't exist in this world, but I made it happen for you. When I told you, your attention went there on those words and it created an image for you. What does this simple example tell us? That wherever our attention goes, that's where our energy flows. And my dear brothers and sisters, the problem is simple. We have put our efforts in the society in a mishmash way. There is no one way. What is happening is we are all working at cross purposes with each other. And that is causing something we call in scientific language friction. And this friction is burning and hurting and destroying. Let me give you an example. We need hardy people as well. We need people on the same page. We need people to all work in the same direction. You can't have a 10 people team, 8 of them who are trying to make that job or that project a success, and then 2 of them are busy against that project and they are trying to sabotage that project. Because building is hard, destroying is easy. See it in your life. Raising a child is very hard. Working with them, educating them, holding their hands, walking with them is very, very hard. If you want to build a house, try and do it. It takes a lot of hard work and effort and planning and organization. What I'm trying to say is these things take time, and we don't have time and attention for good things to be done. Most of our attention nowadays is going towards the materialistic things in our life, and therefore we are seeing the upasamhar, the conclusion of this whole discussion, and that is that the society is in decline, and that is to do with our energy and our focus. We are putting our focus exclusively, and that is most of us, into money and related things. We need to find a happy balance for things to get better. Let me give you an example how we can have sturdy, strong, loving, caring citizens of this country. There was a nice experiment done where they took few plants, divided them into halves, meaning few plants here, few plants there, equal halves, and they took the first batch of plants and sowed them in a field where there was a lot of wind and rain and the normal weather. The plants who were in the field, they got natural sunlight, they got natural air, natural water, rain, everything. They were also taken care of by giving equal amount of fertilizer on both the sides. All things being equal in that sense of fertilizer. Now, what they did was they took the other set of plants and sowed them indoors. And when you have indoor plants, you might have seen that the stem grows, the gaps between the stem and the leaves as they grow on the different notches, I don't have the correct word for it, they grow larger. And when they tested both the kinds of plants for their integrity, strength, you might have guessed, the indoor plants were not very sturdy, they were easy to uproot, whereas the plants who were outside in the field, who were facing that scorching heat, very gale force, windy directions, situations, and so on and so forth. So when they checked the integrity, the strength of the plants, the weaker ones were at the home and the stronger ones were outdoors. This was one way of proving to ourselves that If you are too much of an indoor person, then you don't know too much of the outer world as well. And really speaking, most of the time we have to deal with the outer world. And so we have to learn to socialize and mingle. This is the example of plants to explain us that we need to be streetwise. We need to be wise with the outer world. We need to understand the real life and the decisions. We cannot just live the way we want things, but we have to look after each other and live in synchronization with others. That is what we learn from this example of having plants outdoors and the same plant indoors. You see the difference that makes. Another solution is about understanding the Bhanela and Ganela. Bhanela and Ganela are two different things. Bhanela means academic education. We need that. That's our basis. But that does not cut it. We need Ganela on the top of it. And I believe that is what is missing in the modern world. What is that? That Ganela means you take the academic knowledge, you take the worldly knowledge and experience and put it together and put your skills on the top of it and work hard on that project. That project, when it matures, is called Ganela, meaning you have wisdom of life. If you don't have that kind of wisdom, what happens is you only have a piece of paper saying you can prescribe medicine. You have a piece of paper saying you can build a bridge. You have a piece of paper saying you can dispense medicines. But you don't have life skills. You don't know how to maintain a relationship and not let it deteriorate. You don't know how to do DIY and repair things and do odd jobs at the home. You don't know how to have other things in your life taken care of, like, knowing a bit about your cars, a bit about your house, a bit about gas, a bit about how your oven works, a bit about how the university works and how can we use it, utilize it, what is the new things happening in the world. Basically, we don't have a larger horizon. That is the problem. So, Bhanela means educated. Ganela means wisdom. Wisdom you get from skills, that is your education and skills being applied. Okay, so it's like if you become a doctor from a university, that's very good, that's very nice. But in our traditional way of seeing it, just getting that degree is not enough. You should go in the field. You should take your medicinal skills and use them in the field with other people. Fix them, help them, go with a superior person, a senior person, learn from them. We call it mentoring. And after years of doing that, you mature into knowing how to apply your knowledge which you got from the uni. That can be called wisdom. That is what we are looking for in our society. Once the human beings, the people of the society start to get wisdom about relationships, that's the first thing to learn. I believe that before we study maths, before we study science, before we study English, before we study anything else, we should learn the skills of relationship. Because you can't succeed without a relationship. You need good relationship with your neighbors. You need good relationships with your family members, or you will be a loner, L-O-N-E-R. You will have to live just by yourselves, because then you will say, everybody is bad. My neighbor is bad, my brother is bad, my sister is bad, this is bad, but this is bad, this my friend was bad. Everybody is bad, but I am the best. When you hear somebody like that, you can understand that this person does not know socializing. They don't have social skills. Because This world is full of people who have dvandva. Let me explain. Dvandva means duality. Each and every person in this world, by that definition, has some level of negativity, and each and every person has something which is good in them. So, by that token, if you turn around and say, I'm too picky, I don't like that, that will ick me, oh, I don't do that. When you start doing all that, you lose most of the people because everybody is flawed, including you. You are also flawed. I am flawed. Everybody is flawed. In some way, shape or form, you are flawed as well. You're missing something, you want to get something, you haven't achieved that, you want to achieve something. Something is always lacking in humans. There's a good Subhashita which says, Go dhana gaja dhana baji dhana aur ratana dhana khan jab avat santosha dhana sab dhana dhuri saman. Only when contentment comes, then you don't need anything else. If you don't have contentment, then you are in trouble, because no amount of land, no amount of cars, no amount of houses, no amount of material things can make you happy. Because in this world there is enough for everybody's needs, but there isn't enough for everybody's greed. So to not have greed, you have to have opposite of greed in life, and that is contentment. And so when we take Ganela, that is a person who has got experience, knowledge and wisdom, and then you take that wisdom in your life, what you do is you understand, with a very good example that I read somewhere, that knowing a tomato is a fruit is a knowledge, but not putting that fruit in fruit salad is the wisdom of it. I hope that makes sense to you, and you find more examples. If you find any more examples like these, why don't you put it in the comments box? I could use it some other time. So, there we go. We need to make sure that in our life we achieve skills, we achieve knowledge, not only about how to make money or get a degree into certain thing only, but we need other skills, we need life skills. But first, before any of these skills come, the main number one first skill is people skills. That's where we should all start. That is my solution to this problem. This is where you start. The next solution for fixing a society is faith. I am a deep believer that for any society to progress and to proceed and grow and prosper, it needs faith. And I mean religion. Any religion, it can be Christianity, it can be Buddhism, it can be Hinduism. You can take any faith, so long as it is inclusive faith, into bracket. Any faith which is inclusive. By that inclusive I need to define. Inclusive means, like, I am a Hindu, but I am an inclusive Hindu. What does that mean? I can go to a church, Protestant church, and pray with them comfortably. Why? Because I believe that God is everywhere, which means the God is also in the church, Protestant church. I can now get up of that church and go to a Catholic church or any other church and pray. I have no problem. I can bow to Mother Mary, I can bow to Jesus happily. I can respect them as messenger of God. No problem. Because in our faith in Hinduism we believe ekam sat vipraha bahudha vadanti, which means there is one truth, but it is known in different ways by different people. Like we all eat the same pudding, but somebody can say, oh, it is very chocolatey. Somebody can say it is chocolatey and smooth. And somebody might turn up and say, oh, it's chocolatey and a bit minty too. I can feel a bit of mint there. And somebody can say, oh, this ice cream is so nice, it has got Ferrero flakes in it as well. You can see, we can take anything and explain it in lots of different ways. Hence, we have to take faith, we have to take tradition, and we have to take culture. When we put them all combined, then only can we progress. Any faith you like, so long as it's inclusive. Inclusive meaning, I will happily welcome the other people who follow their own kind of prayers, their own kind of system of divinity. It has to be inclusive. So what we don't want is saying, na, I'm going to heaven, you are going to hell. We don't want those kind of faiths. What faith we want is inclusive, where somebody can say, listen, I do prayers my way to the same Creator, and you do prayers your way to the same Creator. We live and we let live. Win-win situation. That is the kind of society you want. But if you have society which works at cross purposes, where this party says, I am right and you are wrong, and this party says, I am right, you are wrong, that's a recipe of fight. That's a recipe of trouble, and by that you will see some examples in locally. Ireland. If you go to Ireland, you have got example of history. Christians, both sides, same faith, different denominations. Same Jesus, both the sides. Same Mother Mary, both the sides. Difference in how do you see them? That's the difference. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, I mean to say that to save a society, we need faith. But that faith, all of them have to follow in similar direction. I'm not saying same, similar direction. Therefore, what happens is there is less friction, there is less fights, there's less arguments, and more productivity, more cohesion, more. The next solution is that be careful of who you get in to your country, basically. Let me explain. If you take oil, a bowl of oil, and you pour water on the top, do you think it will mix? You see? Therefore, we have a saying, birds of a feather flock together. This is Mother Nature. This is not any social science. This is not any politically correct way of talking. This is Mother Nature. This is how the world is created. This is how the world is. Look around you. Ants live in their groups together. Bees live in their group together. Most of the animals, they live together. They work together. But they do it in their own kind, their own style. And there is reason behind it. Not necessarily a lion can walk amongst the sheep, because sheep have different kind of food, sheep have different kind of lifestyle compared to the lion. Lion has to be in a different group that is more driven the lion way. I hope that makes sense, and politically I'm not hurting you, because nowadays it's all about equality and this and that, and it's not equal. A lion is not equal to a sheep. Sheep is not equal to a giraffe. So what I'm saying is, we all are creations in this world, and we all creations are different. Even if you say in human beings, look at ants, means even ants has so many different, there is red fire ants, there is black ants which don't bite you, the red ants do bite you. Even in then there is subsections. Like in Christianity you have Protestants Christians, you'll have Catholic Christians, you have Jehovah's Witnesses Christians, and many more denominations. But they all believe in Christ. See? What I'm trying to say is that we should have inclusive people who want everybody to join. And they blend. Like oil and water, they don't blend. If you want to mix something with oil, the consistency of what is coming to mix in should be oily, preferably of the similar flavor, so it doesn't ruin the flavor. So say for example, I'll give you a very simple and crude example. You take half a glass of orange juice, half a glass of orange juice, and then you want to add something to it to fill it up. Now you have got different options. If you want to totally alter the taste, what you do is you put some other kind of juice like pomegranate juice. It has different taste, it has different color. So now you are gonna see the orange juice, which was half, will get overpowered in smell, taste and color by pomegranate juice. However, if you take the same half glass of orange juice and add plain water to it, what will happen? You will still see, feel, taste and smell orange juice. Why? Because it's still orange juice, a bit diluted. That is the point. In the society, if you don't want to dilute your society, if you don't want to totally throw it out in the sense saying this is not who we are welcoming anybody and everybody from any culture and every culture who we don't understand, and we will let them affect our culture. And that way what happens is identity crisis. You lose who you are. You lose the connection because you're neither here nor there. And so we need people, we need faith, we need the people who come to England, who come to any country, they should come with integration in mind, saying we will accept the local culture, we will be part of that culture, we will be there in the social fabric, we will wear the dresses that the local people wear, we will blend in. We won't say with our placard saying this is my way so you have to do it. I come with my own special system and this is how I want the system to go. No. I am the outsider. I've come from outside into this country, so I should integrate, not segregate. And that is how we can have a cohesive society. On the other side, you see what is in front of you. You got people of totally different mentalities all coming together in the country. It's problem. And so it's very important for a cohesive society. You need cohesive people who think in a similar way. A bird of a feather flock together. You need similar kind of people. If not color wise, at least thinking wise. If you have a little bit of variation, you can live with it. But when you have opposing forces fighting each other, neck to neck, putting the other person in jail, when this person comes to the power, he disses them, and then this one comes, they diss them. It's pathetic. That causes so much destruction because the country is at odds with each other. You are not all going in the same direction. You are both going opposite, and so nobody is helping each other. We are working at cross purposes, and the only solution to that is people only who believe in the idea of England, who believe in the idea of the whole union, UK, only they should be given support and welcome. Everybody else should be given the door. To integrate in a country, We should ask all people who come to the country to become part of the fabric of the nation. Nation is not just roads and buildings and cars and offices and houses. A nation is a culture. A nation is a tradition. A nation is built with art and heritage and some virtues and ideals. These things make a nation. Who we stand for, who are we? That identity is nation. And when somebody comes to that nation, they need to share the similar respect for the nation. So when foreigners come to our nation, they are welcome, they are our guests. But if they want to live here for some reason, then they should take an oath of allegiance. Take an oath that I will be faithful to the United Kingdom. I will love my United Kingdom, I'll care for it, such that I would be a very good citizen and I would help the local people. I would be a good Samaritan in this country. I won't cause offense. I won't go with placards saying, give me this right and that right. I won't, ask for my own special rights where I come from because I used to do some things my way. I want you to now, look after me. Break your traditions to fit in my traditions. I won't do that. I won't wear so radically different all the time that people think that I'm not an integral part of this fabric. I'm not looking the same. So what I'll do is when I have religious ceremonies, when I'm in my religious job kind of duties, I will wear what I'm supposed to traditionally wear, but then I'll be a Roman in Rome. I'll wear trousers, shirts, t-shirts and blend in with the local people. I will join the local people in eating and drinking and socializing in the way that suits my tradition, culture and my food habits. But I will become part of it. That is the kind of people who should be welcome. We need people who come here who are of the similar thinking. If they come with different thinking, with your education, you're not going to change them. It's very, very hard. There are a lot of terrorists who have got degrees in medicine, who are doctors, who are engineers, and they are still terrorists. It's not the education, it's not the money. I heard Mr. Osama bin Laden, he had too much money. He was a very wealthy person. He had money, he had respect, he had education, he had connections, he was a kind of a royalty. Then why did he want to throw away his life? Go into the jungles, go into the caves, leave all the happiness and joy of the kingdom. Why did he do that? That's the question to answer. The answer is that kind of mentality is against the mentality of the UK, say for example. So when we welcome people here through the doors, we have to vet them. And because of our current situation, extreme or no vetting is happening. We are getting just boatloads of people coming left, right and center. We don't know who they are, how they are thinking and what they are planning in the future. They had cross purposes most of the time we see, and quite often we see people who are really needy and who need help. So it's a mixed bag, it's a hodgepodge of genuine with lots of non-genuine. Remember, majority of the people who come is young, strong, healthy males. No children or very little children and women and frail and old people. This is just young male people. So It's not families they are coming. This is a totally different thing. If you go a bit deeper, this has also to do with human trafficking. There are lots of layers to this problem. To build a nation, we have to build the character of the people of the nation. So the people who live in that country, we have to give them such good training, understanding and skills that they can go ahead and be proud of their country. The solution lies in giving identity to people, saying you are a proud United Kingdom citizen, or any other country for that matter. We need to promote our children and our local social programs where our local people are being encouraged. Especially encourage the programs and the people doing things which is good for our country. Use patriotism. Be proud of your country. Support it. Help it. Positively, publicly make sure that when people do good things, they should be rewarded for doing good things for our country. And when people see that, when the living standards are bearable enough, they can live in a respectable way, that is when we will get good citizens. That is when we can work towards integrating the society. Nowadays, we don't see that. Most of the time, if you go to the universities or you look at the social media, sometimes you see students are more worried about climate change. Why? Because they are given the doomsday scenario that the earth is gonna die. And it was gonna die yesterday. However, it might die in 5 years. So now this student is confused. Somebody else told him, you are a young student, you got your whole life ahead of you, you can do good education, you can have a family, you can do good things for your country. There's a lot you could do. You can grow old, you can have family, and you can have children, and then you can also have grandchildren. These were the dreams given to that child. But now what is this people giving them? They are saying the earth is going to die. Everything is going to go upsy-turvy and everything is going to finish because this is a disaster. And I agree to a certain extent, and that is, we need to work as much as we can towards going renewable. Totally agree. But not with the intensity that these people are putting, in the sense that they are telling children and youngsters and the people who will hear them that the sky is falling tonight or it's going to fall very soon. So now these children's young adults who are at the university, college and so on, they are thinking, hang on, the world's going to die, everything's going to finish, then why should I worry about this course and that course and this module and this assignments and this maths and this science? The world is for nothing, let's go home and chill. Or even better, become agitator. Take up a placard and start yelling at the top of your lungs. That is the problem. Because the problem is that person is called Vidyarthi in Sanskrit language. In Sanskrit language, a student is called Vidyarthi. Vidyarthi, a person who is driven towards knowledge and wisdom of education. Not going with the placards and yelling and worrying about this and that. Yes, you should be worried, but there are other people, maybe your parents can even help you in that. You can ask adults, grown-ups to do that for you. While you are finishing your good education, you're giving your 100% to the education. But rather than that, today we see children are being driven into climate, they are driven into something to do with gender. Well, what's the problem? What is inside your pants does not matter. That's your own understanding, and God bless you. More power to you. Whatever you think, who you are, whatever pronouns and nouns you work with, more power to you. You keep on doing that. But if a man comes to me and say, you have to call me, Brittany, I will smirk a bit. Come on. You got an incredible hulk of a man saying, call me Brittany. That won't be fun. And not that Brittany is bad, I'm just using a simple example. And so, Vidyarthi means a student who is focusing on their studies rather than going and becoming part of the agitation group, becoming part of the climate agenda, becoming part of this gender agenda going on. They need to be focusing on their education, their progress, their own success. And once they have succeeded, they will have time, they'll have power, and they'll have, most importantly, resources to do something about these problems. Because just now, other than those placards and yelling and writing, you can't do much. You can't move the needle. So what I suggest to these youngsters is, I hope, wish and pray that sky is not falling and that you will finish your education in a very high quality manner, and that you'll go on to become great citizens of your country, and you, with your education, with your finances and your amazing skills, you will revolutionize your country and its climate. You will fix it. You will make your country green, but you are going to do that. You are not going to ask others to do that for you. You are not a child, you are a grown-up. You can handle your things yourself. And so, I encourage you, I support you, and I bless you as youngsters to go ahead, take the lead, raise your bar, and after your success, use your success to do the good for your country, for your mother nature. And that would be a respect moment. God bless you. Vande Mataram.